Patriot. Wendy, North Carolina, you're on the Wilkow majority. Hello.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Fine, how are you?
I just wanted to make a couple of points. First of all, the whole thing about redistribution of wealth, if everybody pretty much has played Monopoly before, and capitalism obviously left without any redistribution of wealth, it ends up where it doesn't work, basically. The wealth is redistributed up the income scale only, unless you have a way of bringing it back down into the infrastructure, education, and so on for everybody else. And for basically the civilization to function properly. Roads, schools, bridges, military, all the things that we essentially take for granted, like, clean water and food that's not contaminated with E. coli.
I'm not getting your point here.
Well, you have to have redistribution of wealth to some degree. As with everything, radio shows like yours, you talk about the extremes all the time. Well, if you don't have if you advocate some redistribution of wealth, you'll call somebody a Marxist or a
No, hold on a second. Now, there's a huge difference between what's done at the local level, the county level, and the state level that is forbidden at the federal level. And wealth redistribution is forbidden at the federal level. If it wasn't, you'd find it in the Constitution.
Then where did the military come from? I mean,
the enumerated powers.
Well, the taxes that are collected.
No, ma'am. This is you ask where the military comes from. Article 1, Section 8, defined powers of Congress to raise and support armies.
Yeah.
That's the Constitution.
Okay. So
you asked where the Army and the Navy come from. It actually says here. Let's see. We have declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, to make rules concerning captures on land and water, to raise and support armies, but no appropriation of money that shall be used for longer than 2 years, to provide and maintain a navy, to make rules for government and regulation of the land and naval forces, to provide for calling forth the militia, to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrection, and repel invasion. The military is called for by the United States Constitution. That is one of the things that the federal government's expected to do.
Right, but the federal government can also levy taxes.
But that doesn't mean they can spend. So you're laughing at me. I'm reading directly from the Constitution. I should be laughing at you.
But you're saying that you can't regulate clean water or clean air?
All I'm asking you is to tell me where the federal government gets that authority versus your North Carolina state government.
Look, obviously I'm not a constitutional scholar.
You don't have to be a constitutional scholar. You just have to be able to read the English language.
Well, yes. Basically, the government can levy taxes in order to pay for the things that we need in society.
No, we don't all know that. We don't all know that, Wendy.
Well,
there are 18 things that
what country have you been living in then?
The one that broke away from its Constitution and now has all of its problems because it got away from its Constitution.
I would completely disagree. I would say that you are screwing up.
So basically what you're saying is if the police in the dead of the night just kicked in your door, handcuffed you, and began searching through your drawers, you'd be okay with that?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Well, I'm talking about...
Well, hold on. Would the police be in violation of some, rule if they did that?
Obviously, that's against the Constitution.
What Constitution? No. The government can do whatever it wants. You just said it.
No, I said redistribution of wealth.
Tell me where I could find that in the Constitution.
The words redistribution? No, they can levy taxes. It says
levying taxes does not be able to bring in money into the federal treasury does not create spending powers. The spending powers are codified in the enumerated powers, which limits what the federal government can spend its money on. The federal government is not here to mitigate all inequalities, solve every problem, answer every question, fund every school, patch every pothole. That's not what the federal government is here. And because people like you believe that, that is the problem.
I would say, sir, that the people who think like you are the reason why
No,
we have...
I am squared with the Constitution, ma'am. Your state of North Carolina has the 10th Amendment. You want me to read it to you? Would you like me to read the 10th Amendment to you so you're laughing?
Well,
this is the actual Constitution, ma'am.
The spending is about the Commerce Clause, isn't it about?
No, the spending's not about the Commerce Clause, ma'am. The spending has nothing to do with the Commerce Clause. Making uniform rules for trade across state lines has nothing to do with spending money.
So you're saying the government shouldn't spend money? Is that what you're trying to tell me? The federal government should not spend any money outside of the military? Is that actually your argument?
McFly, is this thing on? I said to you, there's 18 things. You want me to read all 18 of them to you?
Look.
You're frustrated. Your problem is you're frustrated because you have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Obviously, you don't know what you're talking about.
Ma'am, I'm holding the Constitution in my hand.
You're like saying black is,
I'm not like saying anything. I'm reading directly to you. I'm reading directly from it to you.
Well, obviously,
you can keep laughing. You can laugh all you want. The problem is you have no idea. You've never read it. Just tell me the truth. You've never read the Constitution.
I have not read the entire part of the Constitution.
You've never read any part of it.
Look.
No, I don't want to look. You live in the state of North Carolina. I'm going to give this one to you. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution nor prohibited by it to the states are reserved to the states respectively or to the people. Every problem that you want to solve, you can solve within the borders of the North Carolina state legislature, Senate, and the governor's office.
But there are certain things that, are talked about in the general term, and the Supreme Court has already ruled multiple times on those things.
Okay, like what?
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
The Supreme Court ruled on that?
Well, obviously, equality.
Well, how do I pursue life, liberty, and happiness if my federal government is taking money away from me to give it to you? Your happiness comes at the expense of my happiness.
No,
and the Supreme Court never ruled on that, man. That's part of the preamble.
No,
see, you said you read part of it. The problem is you didn't read any of it. If you read part of it, you would have read the first part, which is the preamble. So you didn't even get that far.
It talks about equality.
No, it doesn't. Tell me where the word equality appears in the Constitution.
Wait. Isn't there an amendment to the Constitution that talks about being able to levy income tax?
Yes. What does that have to do with equality?
Equality, we need equality, obviously, you want equality under the law. You don't want to have law.
Equality of circumstances, not outcomes. The idea that you have an equal opportunity doesn't mean we're not all going to write hit records. We're not all going to win Super Bowl trophies. We're not all going to be winners of beauty pageants. We can't all be Miss America. So some people are going to do better than others in life. But, ma'am, the amendment that allows the Congress to receive tax money from whatever source derived has nothing to do with adding new spending powers. Law has to be followed, ma'am. Law has to be followed or it's not law.
Agreed. Okay, let's just talk about...
No, the problem is we can't talk because you have no idea what you're talking about. You simply don't know.
No, I'm talking about taxes, levying taxes. And then you started talking about spending. I'm talking about taxes.
Yes.
Okay. Do we want to live in a society where we value wealth over work? Basically.
So basically, so you're okay with mindless pop stars making $100 million?
As long as they pay their taxes, yeah.
Well, everybody who's assigned to pay taxes pays taxes. 47% of working people in this country don't pay any federal income tax.
That's because they pay all the other taxes.
No. See, the people that actually pay the federal income tax pay all those other taxes, too. See, there's a difference between paying your property tax, your local county tax, a sales tax, a gas tax, a toll, a federal income tax.
Yeah, but they don't have to pay...
Wendy, listen, I got other callers that are waiting. Do yourself a favor and sit down and read the Constitution. You've never read it. You have no idea what you're talking about. This was a total waste of my time. 5 minutes of my life that I can't get back, and that for the audience as well. Thank you for the call. Have a nice day. 1-866-95-PATRIOT. I'll bet she moved from New York to North Carolina.